So we are almost done with the advanced part, and we end by discussing some modeling alternatives. So we will show 3 alternatives to solve a certain case, and those alternatives are equally good. You can choose whichever style you prefer. So take a moment to read the assignment, the case. Just click on the pause button, and when finished, click on play. So very important in this case is the fact that there are 2 deadlines, 7 days and 30 days. So if no final action has happened in 7 days, then the employee must receive an email. If the request is not handled within 30 days, then the process is stopped, and so the employee has to resubmit. And in this first solution, which is completely correct, you start with 2 outgoing paths right from the start. The first path depicts the regular flow, and this is, by the way, sometimes also called the happy path. So here you can see the regular steps such as create account, review for approval, etc. So how to deal with those 2 deadlines? Well, they are dealt with in the second path with intermediate timer events. So the timer 7 days will go off after 7 days, beginning from the start, and then the following task will be executed. So an email will be sent. Then again, after that task, which happens rather quickly, we wait for another 23 days. So we already waited for 7 days, and now another 23 days, so in total 30 days. And then when the timer goes off after 23 days, then a cancellation notice is sent to the employee, and the process stops in an irregular way, hence a terminate end event. Now don't forget, the timer or the 2 timers will not always ring or go off. So if the happy path, the path on top, if the whole procedure is finished within 7 days, then the timer will never go off. So nothing irregular will happen, no email will be sent, and the reimbursement is done in time. So this is a second solution, and this time we use boundary events. So the happy path is put in a big box. Why? Because we need boundary events. And so we have then 2 boundary events, intermediate timer events. And now be careful. The first timer event, 7 days, has dashed lines. If you look carefully, you see dashed lines, meaning it is non-interrupting. So the flow continues, but after 7 days, so if it takes more than 7 days, an email is sent and everything just continues. The timer of 30 days is interrupting, meaning that if the whole procedure takes 30 days, this timer will go off, everything will be stopped, and a cancellation notice is sent to the employee. This is a third alternative. So now we use event subprocesses. So in order to deal with those 2 internal exceptions, those 2 deadlines, 7 days, 30 days, we create 2 event subprocesses. The first one starts with a timer event, 7 days, but it is non-interrupting. The start timer event has dashed lines. The second event subprocess is interrupting. The starting timer event has a full line. So after 30 days, If the procedure is still going on, it has to be stopped immediately and a cancellation notice will be sent. So the chances are big that I will on the exam somehow do something related to exception handling. Could be a deadline, could be a sudden message that comes in and that interrupts a whole procedure. So now that you know, it's up to you to choose. You have three alternatives. Either you use an outgoing path, first alternative, or you use boundary events, the second alternative, or you use event sub-processes, this alternative. All three are good. So there will be, if you choose one, that's fine. If you would ask what I personally prefer, but that has no extra value, I prefer the third solution. So the one that you see on this slide, because it's very clear for each exception you have a separate sub-process, an event sub-process. For me, that makes the whole process very readable and understandable.